Unreal. Calvin Ridley inking a $92 million deal, signing with the Tennessee Titans, a 4-year, $92 million deal with $50 million guaranteed. The ramifications, the downstream impact of this thing and what it's going to do market-wise, setting the market for Brandon Aiyuk and negotiations that could get ugly there. This is unbelievable. Not only is it unbelievable in terms of just money, right? But what it does maybe for his fantasy value. They're paying him big money. They're going to thrust him into the spotlight. Can Levis do something with now Burks and Ridley? Maybe we do like Levis a little bit more. He's not a fantasy football starter by any means in fantasy, but maybe he's good enough to facilitate the football. And this team will be down and throwing from behind a lot. This is a pretty good landing spot. T. Higgins, as Vampy saying in the chat right now, is going to be very upset. T. Higgins isn't going to be signed by the Bengals anytime soon. He'll continue to demand his trade. Aiyuk's going to demand a trade here, I predict, before the NFL draft, maybe sooner than later. This is going to get ugly for a lot of people because this contract is huge. It's huge. Like this is like, I want to say not the same as Deshaun Watson's contract as it related to quarterbacks and the quarterbacks that came after him in the league going, holy crap, bro. Now we got to dial this expectation down by all these other quarterbacks that are going to come after Deshaun Watson. This is setting a wide receiver market like Christian Kirk last year. This is crazy. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. Wow.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Wow. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at Calvin Ridley's deal, and I'm thinking, what are the ramifications? Not so much about fantasy value yet. I haven't even gotten there yet. I'm digesting this live. I literally go live as soon as news breaks, and sometimes I have a few minutes to digest it. I really am digesting it with you live. That's why sometimes I might change my mind in the middle of the breaking news live stream as to where I believe the player will go fantasy football-wise, and I'm reacting live with you. I think that's what's special about this show is that we do it like nobody. Nobody's going to outwork me. I promise you. I feel bad for the person that tries to outwork me. I will outwork you every single time. We go live when big news breaks. That's what the YouTube channel does. We're live at 8 p.m. every single Monday through Friday. This is no Mickey Mouse show. Okay? But what's special is the authenticity of this show. What's special is that I adjust and adapt. What's special is that we come here and together with an open phone line, that nobody does what we do. With an open phone line, we discuss where we think we need to put this guy. Where do we plot him on the fantasy football map after this? I'm digesting it with you. But before I can even get to that, I can't get over the fact that this broski just signed a $92 million, $50 mil guaranteed. Like, for a moment, you got to say to yourself, okay, it's 90 mil, but what's it really? What's the guaranteed? Is it 22 mil guaranteed and then they can get out after next year? Sometimes people need to back up and look at the contract, right? Even Christian Kirk's contract, it was Christian Kirk money. Everybody made fun of it, but it was not really, it was a little more team friendly than people really looked into. Just kind of looked at the surface level. This is freaking unbelievable. 50 mil guaranteed. This ain't no surface level, I'm misjudging it type of contract. This guy's setting the market. This is almost Deshaun Watson for the wide receiver room. These teams, Brandon Aiyuk, poor guy, he's looking at this going, what in the hell has this guy done? Other than leave the league, come back, get misused, yeah, but not produce. He gets a $92 million 4-year deal, $23 million a year for those of you that went to college. That's why we went to do that little division. Divided by 4 is $23 million a year. This guy's making $92 million if all goes well. 15 mil guaranteed no matter what. The guaranteed money is the most important part. The $92 million, it doesn't really matter. The team can get out of the contract after year 2, year 3. There's outs in it, right? What matters is guaranteed money, really, at the end of the day. And now, of course, if he balls out, he'll earn this. He'll get an extension, that type of stuff. But he's an older player. So it's not like... Ziggy, how old is Calvin Ridley? Isn't he 29? Isn't he 29 years old?
Calvin Ridley is 29 years
Holy
old.
shit!
On December 20th, 1994.
Holy... He turns 30 before the year is even over. Oh my God. For those that don't understand what I'm talking about here, if you think that, 30's fine, see, a young man, Smitty. That's 29 years old is a young man. You're answering that for yourself. I'd love to be 29. I'm not 29. I'd love to be 29. You don't understand what we're talking about. 30 years old is a geezer in the NFL at the wide receiver position. Cooper Kupp, 30 years old. Look what he did his 30-year-old season. This man just got $50 million guaranteed, and he turns Cooper Kupp's age in December. Now, I like Calvin Ridley. I'm a little excited. We'll go over his situation. No doubt about it, in a second, in terms of what do we think about 2024 value? What do we think about this? What do we think about Levis? All the impact. There's a lot of cascading effect and different, degrees of separation that get impacted from the situation. But I want to talk about the $50 million guaranteed real quick. I want to talk about how Brandon Aiyuk is going to request a trade within, 48 hours or at least before the NFL draft. And for the Niner fans in here, relax for a second and understand I'm not against Aiyuk. I think Aiyuk should get paid. But what's crazy, and we got some gifted memberships going on up in this mug. Who drops some gifted memberships? Who's in here creating amazing havoc in the live chat? It looks like it's probably Decker. Decker dropping 10 gifted memberships. Decker, appreciate you. Decker to the freaking moon. If you guys got a gifted membership from Decker, please thank him. A fire emoji, the thank you emoji, eggplant emoji. He'll take anything. Pause. Just give Deckard what he deserves. Deckard gave you a gifted membership. You need to give this man an emoji of gratitude. I don't know what to make of this as far as Aiyuk, as far as what's Hollywood Brown get. Hollywood Brown was, in my opinion, probably the same level as Calvin Ridley for 2024 value. Okay, 2024 value, Calvin Ridley, Hollywood, same level. Dynasty value, probably Hollywood Brown a little bit, maybe a little bit more. Just because, Ziggy, how old is Hollywood Brown? He's going to get this one.
Marquise Brown is 26 years old.
26, yeah. Woo, 26. That's a young man in the NFL comparatively to what we... God, 26, turning 30 in December. So Hollywood Brown, definitely the better long-term aspect product that's out there in the free agent wide receiver room there that we got sitting right here. Ridley's now gone. We got to put a signed right next to Ridley's name. So Ridley, congratulations on, I don't want to say stealing because I like Ridley a lot. But, I mean, odds are he's going to get hurt. He's not going to be able to make good on the 50 mil. He might be able to do it this year, but Hollywood Brown's the top wide receiver available. We've got Mooney gone. We've got Gabe Davis gone. We got Higgins tagged and requesting a trade. We got Mike Evans re-signed. We got Michael Pittman Jr. tagged and upset. Michael Pittman Jr., or not tagged, signed. What am I doing? What am I doing here? Why is he still sitting there with a tag? Why is he sitting there with a tag? Come on, Smitty, get with it. There we go. Aiyuk is going to request a trade. Higgins is going to start beating the drum harder on the trade. These guys want bank now. Both these guys believe they're better than Ridley. I can guarantee you that. Now, is Higgins better than Ridley for 2024? I beg to say they're pretty close, but would I rather have Higgins long term? You bet your bottom dollar. Is Hollywood Brown better than Ridley and Higgins long term? I kind of think so. I don't know if Hollywood Brown's going to get the deal he wants. I think Aiyuk is going to be so pissed off by this $92 It was a 92 or 94. I keep forgetting. $92 million, 50 guaranteed. Aiyuk is not going to be happy. And here's why Aiyuk requests a trade. If he's smart, if his agent's smart, if he's smart, he'll say, give me this trade request now, because these teams will start filling their wide receiver rooms with rookies. So the trade leverage card doesn't even work after the NFL draft with the majority of the teams on the board. If you're looking at, let's say, a Chargers situation, or maybe a Denver Broncos, or even we'll call it Indianapolis Colts, maybe I don't know, we'll call it Dallas, we'll call it Baltimore. Baltimore could use a wide receiver. All these landing spots, you get the point. Kansas City Chiefs, they all might draft rookies. They may not be interested in trading for Aiyuk after the draft, whereas they might be interested before the draft. Aiyuk's leverage is to get these teams to call, to get the Niners to feel the pressure of what his market value is worth, and then they're going to be more apt to take action. If they wait until after the NFL draft and Aiyuk says, are we getting the deal done yet? And they're like, nah, we'll get you in August. My guy will call your guy in August, Aiyuk, okay? We'll go ahead and talk to you later. Aiyuk's going to say, then I would like, with the remaining two teams in the National Football League that need wide receivers, I would like to request a trade to one of those two teams. Now your leverage is gone because those teams still might not want to make an expensive trade. Aiyuk's leverage is out the window. Aiyuk's going to request a trade. Unless the Niners step up and sign him to an extension sooner rather than later. The problem with the Niner way is this waiting until freaking September and August makes the value of Aiyuk go up. Had the Niners signed Aiyuk to a $23 million deal, same thing as Ridley, $23 million a year, gave him $40 million guaranteed, $38 million guaranteed, whatever that, I'm just throwing arbitrary numbers out. Now he has to get $50 million guaranteed, or he's going to put up a fight all the way to the bitter end. And now Aiyuk's going to hold out. Do I think Aiyuk ultimately holds out and misses game checks? No, I don't. But does Aiyuk hold out enough to make him have a bad season like Debo 2 years ago? Debo held out, and Debo got hurt. Or he was overweight, he's slow, he got hurt by it. Debo was hampered by holding out. He even admitted that. He said he's never going to put that kind of garbage film out there ever again, meaning he looked at his film in the 2022 season and said, I played like horse crap. And he said, but we put it behind us. Blaming it on Kyle with his verbiage, right? They put it behind him. They had a meeting. He put it behind him, put his anger behind him, saying, I feel like you guys caused my bad year. Aiyuk is headed down that road because he's going to hold out. He's going to remain holding out until he gets his deal. It's a precedent, and it's not on Aiyuk. We can't blame Aiyuk. You can't sit there and ridicule Aiyuk and call him diva, call him this, call him that, call him names. The fan base is going to ridicule him. The Niner fan base went after Debo harder than I've seen a fan base go after a player before that didn't deserve it. Half the fan base was so vicious and rude and mean and cold-hearted to Debo. Hate mail, all that stuff. Just complete garbage throwing Debo's way. This is a precedent of the NFL. This is how players negotiate. This is widely accepted that during your contract year, you can make a little beef and actually make waves, make a stink, clear your social media. A.J. Brown cleared his social media, did a scrub right before the playoff game. That's different. That's not cool. During the offseason, it is what it is. I wasn't mad at Debo. I defended Debo. Half the fan base in San Francisco did not. They ran that guy over the coals, raked him over the coals, told him to get out. We don't need you. I'm seeing a little bit of that already with Aiyuk. We don't need him. If he doesn't want to be here, why doesn't he go? I don't understand that. This guy's doing what everybody else does. This man threw a wrench into the situation, and the whole thing's blowing up now. $50 million guaranteed? What are the Titans doing back there? Making more room for activities? Pushing the bunk beds together? I don't understand what's happening. They're giving this guy Christian Kirk money from where he's coming ×2. In Tennessee, paying $50 million guaranteed sets a precedent that they can't undo. It's going to take 2 or 3 wide receiver contracts lower than this to dumb down the market again. And that's what Deshaun Watson's contract did. If you remember, when Deshaun Watson signed his $230 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed, the key word was his contract was fully guaranteed. Didn't so much matter the numbers. We've surpassed those numbers by now. It was a lot back then, and things escalate and go up every year. We knew we'd get over the $230 mark, right? 230 mil. We knew we'd get over that. This is Aurora dropped 10 gifted memberships. Aurora to the freaking moon. Aurora! That's what I'm talking about, Aurora. It's things like that, pal. You come out, you drop that, you become a legend, you go to Saturn.
To Saturn.
Thank you, Aurora. Appreciate you dropping a 10 watt on the screen. 10 from Deckard, 10 from Aurora, 20 gifted memberships. Drop your emojis if you got one, and thank these two gentlemen for dropping amazingness in the chat. But we're talking about when Watson signed his $230 million guaranteed deal, the full contract being guaranteed set a precedent that's NBA-like, where players said, I can get a fully guaranteed deal now. I'll lower my amount, but I want it fully guaranteed. And owners were upset. They were absolutely just in a pickle. And everybody was getting faced with, by the quarterbacks, we want a guaranteed deal like he got. It took 1 or 2 contracts to get rid of that thought process. That was an anomaly. No, it's not. I want a fully guaranteed deal. It's an anomaly. No, it's not. It's an anomaly. Look, we just signed this guy. Hey, we just signed this guy. And then it went away. It went away. This is going to be similar in terms of the impact. $50 million guaranteed, 4 years, $92 million for a 29-year-old wide receiver that turns 30 at the end of this year, the same age that Cooper Kupp was last year when Cooper Kupp dropped off. Cooper Kupp was 30 years old. 30 is the new 32, 33 for wide receivers. If you're 30 years old before the season kicks off, and Ridley won't be, he'll be 29. He's 29 now. He turns 30 in December. But I'm just giving you a time, like a expiration date. This is an expiration date I'm giving you. You turn 30 years old walking into a season before the season kicks off. So this will be his next year. But he awkwardly turns 30 at the end of the year. So it's like, you don't know if he has a full year. He's going to be more prone to busting during his 30-year-old season than the average 30-year-old because he turns 30 during this season. The odds of him making good on 50 mil guaranteed are slim to none. This is crazy. Now, from a fantasy football perspective, yeah, there are anomalies. There are exceptions. Mike Evans is doing it. Derrick Henry's doing it for RBs. 28 is the same thing for running backs. 28, you hold your breath. Eckler, we held our breath. Eckler crapped the bed. Aaron Jones, we held our breath at 28. He crapped the bed last year. He played great when he played, but he was not on the field. Cooper Kupp turned 30. That's the age for receivers, 30. 28 for running backs. You hold your breath. Can it happen? Yeah. Could Cooper Kupp have had a good year last year? He could have. He had a good year per game. Could he kind of be okay this year? Yeah. But he'll probably miss 4 or 5 games because he's 30 years old. Derrick Henry, anomaly. Don't even consider it. It's not something we bring into the conversation. Why? Because we want to ignore it and only go with things that validate our point? No, he's an anomaly. He's an anomaly. Mike Evans is an anomaly. And really, your expectation should be a 30-year-old player is going to have a tough time at wide receiver producing. A 28-year-old player will have a tough time at running back producing, and that's it. You could take your chance at 28 for RB, McCaffrey. You can get mad all you want, but McCaffrey's 28 years old with a mileage like no other player in the National Football League, a percentage of his offense like no other player in the National Football League, a pretty extensive injury history that he did shake free, but that's still there, and you wonder when it creeps back up. A coach that injures his players constantly, a coach that definitely injures his running back room constantly, and a team that's going to have to rely on him to get back to where they were last year, or they dial him back and he doesn't produce as much. Either way, it's a double-edged sword. Wide receivers, take your pick. What wide receiver at 30 years old other than Mike Evans produced, in recent memory? There are exceptions. I'm not saying we can't find them. We dig through the ages of wide receivers. We might find a couple. I'm not saying they don't exist. 30 years old is the time where they can. 31 is very difficult. It's an anomaly. You don't ever count on it. You don't ever expect it. You can't even prepare for it. As for Ridley, I would say at 29, I feel confident that he could go out there and ball out. At 29, given how good he looked when they used him, right, and he did, he could do well in 2024 in the right spot. The question is Levis the right guy? Is Tennessee the right spot? Is this kind of awkwardly a good spot because the Titans will be down in the third and fourth quarter every week and throwing the ball constantly? And does Burks take away some of the work, some of the issues that we felt like the Jacksonville Jaguars had in terms of saying, well, Ridley's our only guy that can stretch the field because Zay Jones is hurt. Let's just run him on 8 streaks every half and just run him downfield, and 1 out of those 8 or 9, we'll throw the ball to him. The conversion rate's really low. This guy would run massively big plays, get thrown to maybe 2, 3, 4 times a game, and the conversion rate was so low, he had a very slim chance of catching one of those 4 balls. When he did, he had a big game, a big gainer, maybe a touchdown. If not, he had 0 catches. That's how they used him. That's how they misused him, rather, in Jacksonville. I think it's better in Tennessee. Believe it or not, I think Levis in Tennessee, down, throwing the ball constantly, being the clear top dog talent-wise in Tennessee in this offense, being the best player on the field, really. At the running back position, or at the wide receiver position anyway. I think they throw the ball to him a ton. It's a matter of does he stay healthy at 29 years old. And that's 2024. Okay, dynasty-wise, he's got 1 year. 1 year, and then I'm not even on this train. 1 year. So this contract is insane. The contract is insane. The precedent it sets, the ramifications it delivers and triggers is going to be hard to fathom in the next coming days, weeks, and months as we head into Aiyuk and Higgins' potential extension season. Or not extension season. Crazy. Way overpay. Huge misstep by the Tennessee Titans. However, I don't mind him as a wide receiver 3 in fantasy football 2024. Very mixed feelings here. Very objective look at it, though. Ridley, wide receiver 3, 2024. Will people make fun of this contract so much that no one even wants to buy into him as a wide receiver 3? I don't know. We'll have to see where he goes, but I'd be comfortable with him as a wide receiver 3-4, let's call it. And I don't know that he climbs higher than that, so that's not going to bust you in 2024 if he doesn't land. In Dynasty, I don't know. I think you get a year and a half tops. This is an older wide receiver. You could say doesn't have as much mileage because he sat out, but you could also say that's going to affect his body. And at the end of the day, when you're 31 years old and he's going to turn 30 by the end of this year, so let's give him this year. Then he walks into his 30-year-old season next year and turns 31 during it. Your body turns 30, it turns 30. It almost doesn't matter too much. It can, but it doesn't matter too much that the mileage could be a little lesser. You know, a lot lesser would be a whole different story, but you still it doesn't buy you a fresh reset. Like if you start playing football at 29 years old, you don't get a 7-year shelf life, 8-year shelf life from that point. You might get a year or something out of that because of the less mileage, but we're talking about a minuscule amount, a minuscule advantage. Mostert didn't get used like a starter his entire career. He got 1 year at 31 years old. And that's not even an anomaly. That's a whole different conversation when we're talking about Eckler being a grinded between the tackles workhorse his entire career, or even early on he was a workhorse in the receiving department. He got mileage like no other, and so he's dropping off. Eckler, 28 years old, fell off the face of the earth. Mostert didn't get used, like a workhorse. So when he hit 31 and was leaned upon, he had 1 year. I don't think Mostert could, for the life of him, stay healthy this year on another set workload like he got last year. I think Mostert falls straight off. Wow. Unbelievable. Dial in. Let's talk about this one.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
This one's crazy. I mean, the precedent it sets, or not the precedent, because the teams I don't know that the teams are following suit on it, but the expectation that gets set, the cascading anger and effect that it has with Aiyuk and Higgins and every receiver that's contemplating, hey, I need more money. JJ doesn't even have a quarterback, and he wants more money. He doesn't even want it where he is. Did I like what I saw at Levis last year? A little at points I did, and that's why I'm a little bit excited about the fact that you've got a team that's going to be playing from behind, throwing the ball, and Levis has the potential to air it out. He does. He can air it out. Now, is he a Derek Carr? Like, Derek Carr could air it out, but Derek Carr is very bad. You know, he's on and off. He's had some good years, very bad years, not a great quarterback overall. Like, Levis could be better than that, but he could still... Winston could air it out, but he was still not a great quarterback. He still couldn't lead you to victory. You know, so it's a matter of, like, can Levis deliver a fantasy football, you know, stat line that we're going to be okay with, a target volume to Ridley? Sure, I think he could, especially if you're down and throwing in the third and fourth quarter constantly. Young, you're live. What is up? What do you hear? What do you say?
What up, Smitty? Yeah,
what's up?
Crazy overpay, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking, man. Desperation, maybe. But at the same time, like, what are you fighting for anyway right now? I guess you could look at it that way. Like, it's $50 million guaranteed. You know, I'm sure there's an out year 2. I haven't looked at the contract yet, or year 3. So maybe they're like, let's develop Levis at a very, very high cost of entry, and then we're not rooting for, or doing anything this year anyway. We're just going to spend our money this way and kind of work around tooling Levis, you know, and getting him where he needs to get. It's certainly possible how this is going to potentially shake out and why they did what they did, but there's no doubt about it that it is not the right, you know, the right number that sets an awful precedent. If you guys can mute real quick, Boston Dan and 267 caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? I'm going to put you on hold, but I just want to get your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Jay. I'm calling from Philly.
Jay from where?
Jay from Philly.
Philly. Okay. Oh boy, we got something to talk about in a minute, Jay. Hang tight. Okay, so mute guys. Young, what are you thinking here, Young? What do you think about this?
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna kind of f things up, you know, around the, you know, like you said, kind of like that Watson situation a little bit with guys, you know, like Aiyuk trying to get paid, things of that nature, you know. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, so it'll be Levis, Hopkins. Hopkins still there, right? Next year?
For now. Yeah.
For now, okay. Hopkins, Ridley, Tony Pollard. I don't know. Maybe. We'll
yeah,
have to see,
I mean,
but yeah, like you said.
I mean, you never know. You never know, bro. You never do. Like, what if Levis takes a huge step forward? Like, maybe I shouldn't act like the Titans have no shot to play good football at all. They do, I guess. I mean, especially if they keep Hopkins. Then if Hopkins is kept and they really believe Levis is going to take a big step, but I don't know. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And we don't know if Hopkins really... Ziggy, how old is DeAndre Hopkins? Hopkins is 32?
And was born on June 6,
yeah, but he turns 32. So he's 32 when the season begins. Ziggy off. He turns 32. Oh, wow. Yeah, so Hopkins is at that. You know, I find myself drafting him as my 4th wide receiver on Underdog Fantasy. By the way, guys, hit that Underdog link. We'll be doing... I don't know if we'll do it tonight, but we're starting probably this week or at least early next week. We're doing Underdog Marathon drafts. And the link I just dropped in the live chat, I'm going to pin it. It's also in the description of every video. We're going to be doing underdog drafts, doing the 2024 drafts, and trying to figure out where we're going to draft these guys. I've been finding myself drafting Hopkins a lot, but it goes against everything I'm saying. You know, I'm contradicting myself. And that's fine. That's the nature of fantasy football. No one's going to be perfect with how they actually act versus what they say, even to somebody on a show or to a friend. And then you get in the moment, you're like, man, as a wide receiver 4, maybe I will take the gamble. But like when I step away from that moment of like, what if I'm drafting the name here? He's a wide receiver 4 for me. Why don't I do it? The bottom line is 32 years old. He has almost no shot. You know, he maybe a little bit of playing like good for spurts and then getting hurt. But Hopkins is best days are 100% behind him. Is there a shot in hell he has one more year? Maybe. As an anomaly, you can't count on maybe. Hopkins is one of those players, if I had to predict a player could, it would probably be this guy because he's been so good his entire career. This man's been double teamed his entire career. Hopkins is probably the most under-realized talent at the wide receiver position over the last 15 years. I really believe people don't get how good he is. And it's probably very frustrating for him to just live in a world of double teams and be in like weird situations. But someone said Levis to the moon, Kenobi. I can't really get mad at that though. Like if you believe in Levis and he's got Hopkins and he's got Ridley and he's got Pollard, maybe they do something. Maybe I'm too hard on the Titans. I don't know. It's possible.
You got a few weapons in the arsenal now.
I mean, it does look a little better. Like when you step away from it and you take a look at it, you're like, okay, it does look not bad. They are fighting for something. They really probably are. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Levis takes a big step forward. It would be fun to watch. And he certainly showed flashes of it, but then he also showed flashes of the other thing.
Yeah. Real quick. What round are you getting Hopkins in right now?
I think he's going, when I look at the underdog ADP right now, better yet, let me just look at a draft board right here. So if I look at a draft right now, Hopkins went at number 7th round, 77 overall, middle of round 7. So that to give you a little expectation of where that is, that Godwin around him, Christian Watson, Jamison Williams, running backs around that value are Monty, Pollard, Brock Bowers is there, Ramondre, Jalen Warren. So that's not a crazy territory to gamble on Hopkins, especially if you think, okay, I believe you, Smitty, 32, he can't do it really, but maybe he's elite for the games he plays and he misses 6 games and he's elite when he's out there. Kind of like Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp played amazingly, but he missed so much time. Aaron Jones played amazingly when he was fully healthy. He did come back and play bad and go back, but once he got healthy at the end of the year, Aaron Jones was ripping it off. So it's like, could Hopkins play like that at 32, but miss games? Probably. And then there's all the talk, and I don't know. I think it's mostly talk, but people are like, he got suspended for the performance enhancement situation, but he came out and said it was something that he thought was approved, and it wasn't that he pulled all that back, and then there was a lot of like controversy around what it really was that he tested positive for. So a lot of people think, especially if you do use an abused substance like enhancements, then that are banned by the NFL, that like you'll be more prone to injuries at the end of your career too. But that's all speculation, at this point, total guesswork as to what he really was doing. But wow. Hang tight, Young. Let me go over to Boston Dan, and then I'll go to Jay after that. Boston Dan, what is up, my guy? You're live. What do you hear? What do you say?
All right, first of all, Pats fan, you can tell by the Boston, the title. So we're probably going to end up with Hunter Renfrow. That's great. That's going to be an awesome wide receiver one. But
you're you know what? I almost feel like I'm talking to like a live report, like beat writer, because like that sounds perfect. That sounds exactly what the Patriots are capable of. Like, good God, bro. Are you a live breaking news reporter? That sounds to the T.
I'm not even an oracle. It's second nature at this point. Just to
Hunter,
know that.
Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Hunter Renfrow, please report to your starting lineup in New England. Please report to your starting lineup in New England. Thank you. And if there's any extra tight ends, we'd love to run a triple tight end set. Thank you. Good God.
You're hitting the nail on the head.
Poor Patriot fans.
But to touch on the Titans' direct fantasy implications real quick.
Superfish.
If you look at what they've done, I don't know if this could be a sneaky little offense we're seeing. And
yeah.
I don't think it's going to be anything spectacular. But you look, they fired Vrabel back in the day. They let go of Derrick Henry. It's obvious they're starting, and they changed coaching staff. A lot of moving pieces. And this is if they keep DeAndre Hopkins. I think with Levis being big arm QB, they're gonna try out a pass happy offense for a year. They didn't hire a new power running back. They got another kind of scat back who's a little overrated in Tony Pollard. They got Calvin Ridley to take the top off and create separation. I think they want to air it out. I could see Ridley getting 140 targets, 130 targets probably. D-Hop getting his 125, 130. And both being fairly productive. And there's room for higher. I mean, the ceiling is like a Jordan Love.
You know what I think part of it is? You know what I think part of it is, though? Is, like, were they a better team with Derrick Henry than Pollard? Yes. And I know you could say, well, they want to throw more. They can still throw. Like, Henry's going to help keep the defense honest, I think, more than Pollard. So yeah. I think what I would say is, like, keeping Henry, and I know he could get hurt. I know he's older. I get that. But, like, keeping Henry, bringing in Ridley, that would be a more exciting offense than I think. Pollard, we don't know what he is. I like Pollard a lot. I really do. But, I can't get over the fact that man had a wide open touchdown he could have ran in last year, and he decided to cut back toward the middle of the field at the 1 yard line and got shoved backwards.
Tough to watch.
I just until he proves it to me and overwhelmingly proves it to me, I can't buy into him right now. Like he extremely disappointed us. Real quickly, let me hit these super chats real quick. $20 hauler by Superfish. Appreciate you dropping a wad on screen. Superfish to the moon.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Superfish, appreciate you. This was a crazy year. Teams have completely shifted the NFL balance in the last 48 hours. Most free agents, the draft, and more free agents. This is not close to being over. Thanks, Smitty, for all your constant coverage. Thank you, Superfish, for your $20 hauler. You're fantastic. Always appreciated, never expected, and you guys keep the lights on here, so I appreciate anything you guys throw down. Does this help Pollard's fantasy value, says Dawn. No, I mean, no. I don't know that it hurts it. I don't know that it helps it. I certainly wouldn't say it helps it, but I wouldn't come out and say I think it also hurts it. But, like, adding another mouth to feed when Hopkins is there, Okonkwo is there, like, maybe it keeps defenses, a little bit more at bay because you got two wide receivers. You got to run a different scheme. I mean, maybe. It's hard to say, though. Pollard, it's really up to Pollard. It's not up to anybody else. But, yeah, it could go either way. Call the Popo really just robbed the Titans. Let me put something on screen here. First of all, thank you for your super chat. Who was that? That was Matto. Here's a picture of Calvin Ridley right now. And the caption here is amazing. Ian Rappaport retweeted this. This is the face you make when you hear that the bag you're getting. And you see Calvin Ridley look as shocked as we are. He's got his phone over his head. This is like when someone tells you you won the lottery, or, hey, this is your car out here. Here are the keys. The whole community got together and they're going to give you a free car. And you put your hand on your head. You start raising your arms. Like, this is the face of a man that looks shocked, more shocked than we are. It's almost like Bill from accounting put an extra 0 on the offer sheet. And Ridley's lawyer said, sign it now before they retract this. They signed it. They sent it over, and they're like, oh, God, what do we do? Ridley looks shocked. He looks maybe grateful. Okay, maybe I'm overdoing this a little bit, but look at him. Look at him. What's on his phone? Can we zoom in on this? What is on his phone? Does it say, like, OMG? Are these missed calls? What are these? Is this a workout? This looks like maybe some split times. I don't know what that is. It looks like maybe directions. Turn right at the bank. Turn right again. Turn left, and you've arrived at the bank. I don't know. It looks like GPS, like MapQuest or something. Back in the day. look at Ridley. Oh my God. Oh, someone said that's his 10-leg parlay that I zoomed in on. He probably put 100 on that he wouldn't get the bag. And he's shocked. He's like, holy crap, I just hedged myself. I just hedged all my money because I didn't think they'd send me a $50 million guaranteed deal. That's my winning ticket. Let's go back to that. Is that Is that a Underdog Fantasy 5-player contest on there? I don't know. I'm going to have to meme that up. Good God. Anyway, call the Popo. Thank you, Matt O, for the super chat. Appreciate you. Deckard in here dropping a $2 hauler out of the wide receivers left. Who do you like in KC? The only one left is Hollywood. Hollywood to KC feels very, very likely. I said that last night. I still stand by that. I could see him going after Hollywood, especially right now with Ridley off the table. Hardcore, go get him. Do it live. Do it live. Okay, Boston Dan, hang tight. Let me go over to Jay from Philly, who I'm right now. I'm talking to a man that's going to look as happy as Ridley looks right now when the Eagles win not only their division but the NFC in 2024 and go to the Super Bowl. What's up, Jay? How's it feel to be a winner?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Yeah, I'm feeling real good. I'm had to stop you right there. I'm a Ravens fan, but I live in Philly. But so Derrick Henry is my cash cow right now. I'm feeling that way more than any signing. But that Saquon deal is huge for fantasy. That definitely pushed him up my ranks.
Okay.
As far as Ridley goes, that might be the worst contract I've ever seen this year.
Whoa! Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, bro. Deshaun Watson owns that. Let's not take away that from Watson.
That was last year. This year, that is the worst contract I've ever It's to the point where it was like they're picking up the pieces from the T. Higgins fallout, and they're still trying to save face from the A.J. Brown fallout. It just seems like they're overcompensating for a lack of competency. Like they're not paying from like a perspective like, oh, we're going to have him as our most dominant receiver for the next few years. They're paying us because they want to shut the fans up, saying, hey, we got the A.J. Brown replacement finally. No, he out last year. That was last year. No, we really have him this year.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on with it, to be honest with you, bro. I really have no clue what they're thinking with this contract. Other than they're kind of, maybe this is why I'm so hard on them, is that these are the moves that make me question. You get rid of Derrick Henry, replace him with Pollard. You pay Pollard. What was Pollard's contract? What was Pollard's contract?
I'm not even sure. It was like 30 mil? Right, 30 mil?
So everyone's like, oh, they saved money. They didn't save money. You bring Pollard in on a
3 years,
$21 million. Okay, so let's put this contract up. This is Tony Pollard's contract. And then Derrick Henry's contract was what? Let's see.
Derrick Henry.
I can find it right here. I got it.
I think it was 10 mil.
2 years, 16 mil.
Yeah, 16 mil. Yeah. 10 mil this year. And that was just like they're more positioned with that Henry deal for a Super Bowl run than the Titans. The Titans are just giving shares to wide receivers.
I get that, but if you're in the mode of, so here's Derrick Henry's deal, I believe this is updated. So 2 years, 16 mil, and then here is Tony Pollard's deal, 3 years, 21 mil. The total guaranteed over on the Pollard side, the lower one, is 10.4. The total guaranteed on Henry's 9. So when someone says, "Oh, they brought in Pollard because they want to save money on Derrick," no, Derrick Henry would have been cheaper. And then when you take into account, like, okay, well, maybe they're trying to do something. No, they're not, because they're paying Ridley a crazy amount of money. So they're not trying to save anything. He's not a long-term value. So like, you're obviously trying to go for something right now. The Titans believe they can do it. So I guess the part that makes me overlook that it still is a pretty decent offense, I suppose, and I'm not giving the Titans enough credit, is that they could have done better, but they watered down what they could have done and still spent a boatload. It's kind of like you go out and you spend a ton on landscaping for your backyard, but you smash a couple trees with your feet, and then you still plant them. And then you still go all out on your backyard, but like you didn't do as good a job as you could have. Like I don't know. That's part of why I'm a little bit baffled. Now, do they figure out a way to trade or cut DeAndre Hopkins, who is said to be a cap casualty? He still could be. It doesn't sound like they will right now, but that could happen as we're live. It could be, shot down as a potential.
It could be during the draft. I think if it's any case, it's probably during the draft where Aiyuk is going to have some suitors, D-Hop, because you can't sanction all three receivers along with Treylon Burks. We all spend a first on. He still has to get paid within the next few years. So this isn't like a plan to cradle D-Hop. I think D-Hop knows the silver lining in the sky is saying he's not going to be there for long because you can't obviously pay two 30-plus year receivers, that much money for the time being. And I think they were swinging for T. Higgins at first, and then Nick Holtz was like, you know what, bro, they're not going to give us what we need. Let's just go for Calvin Ridley's out there. Let's just get Calvin Ridley. And I feel like, with the new head coach they have who came from the Bengals, the passing coordinator, he can make, a mountain out of molehill with like he did with who's that backup quarterback he used to be for the Vikings? Yeah, him. They can repolish, Will Levis's, mechanics and his style to try to get him, way more polished together as a quarterback in order to be able to disperse his ball between these two receivers. However, I don't feel like that is enough, in a division, the same division, where you have the likes of C.J. Stroud on the hot hand right now with Joe Mixon, and he still has his Nico Collins out there, Tank Dell. You got Michael Pittman going back to the Colts with a revised Anthony Richardson. And you have, other type of, dark horses in that AFC South who are preying on the downfall of, the Titans, which has the worst passing defense last year. Like
I hear you.
D-backs
all right, Jay, let me stop you right there. Take a breath. All right, hang tight. Let me go over to Travis real quick, and then so hang right there. You can come back with another thought. Travis, what's up? You're live.
Hey, I have to push back on that a little bit because Hopkins isn't owed that much money. After this year, if they decide to pay him this year, they can just move on after this year. If he hits every single marker, they'll be paying him $14 million, I think it is about. But with Ridley's contract, it's $50 million guaranteed. So they can look at it like 2 years, $25 million apiece if he performs at that level, and they can be done after 2 years with that as well. So, it all depends on how you look at it. To me, I think they're trying to decide right now what Will Levis is, and they're doing what teams should do. If you want to try to see what a quarterback is, give him the weapons he needs. And if he plays well and maybe Hopkins still gets cut, but if he plays well with Ridley and Hopkins and Chig, and now they have two running backs that they don't have to worry about so much at that position, they've at least surrounded him in that sense. And I think the way I look at it with the contracts is over these next two seasons, they're paying a lot of money, but after 2 years, they're free and clear, and they'll know what Levis is as well.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more. I think I'm judging the offense a little too harshly. I think it's actually pretty decent. I just think I think like everybody else, we're asking ourselves how in the hell are they paying this amount of money? Or if you think you can win now, which I don't think they can. I think they can play okay, and like you said, maybe they develop. And that's what I said at the beginning is maybe this is all just okay. Let's spend what we got to spend. Let's get the most we can get out of these guys and try and develop Will Levis. But at the same time, it's like you're paying.
I think it's all about Levis.
Yeah, but you should have done a shorter deal. You shouldn't have given $50 million guaranteed. So they definitely crapped the bed on this attempt to maybe give Levis everything he needs. And I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's definitely irresponsible spending. And they could have done a couple other different things, but we'll see, bro.
When you're the Titans, though, you might have to overextend.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm looking at it from the other side of things. I get what you're saying. I get what other people are saying, but to me, I guess being a frustrated Patriots fan, not even right now, because to me they're just in a rebuild now. But you draft a quarterback in the first round, regardless of who he is, and they took Levis in the second. Put pieces around him and at least find out what he is.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of teams they didn't do it with Fields either, you know. I at least give them credit for doing that. Is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and like I said, I think I'm not giving them enough credit for being a pretty decent. And what if Levis goes out and, you know, is the man? You know, he certainly could do that.
That's what I mean.
I'm okay with them trying. I'm okay with them trying. I just think it would have been smarter to keep, in my opinion, Travis Henry and try it with Henry and give Levis an even stronger, bigger, better weapon that could really keep defenses honest. I think that was the part that's confusing to me. It's like, here you are.
I think maybe Henry wanted to leave.
Yeah. I think he would have considered
Go
it.
for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think he felt the fire burning out at the end of last year. I feel like he's smart enough to understand what he's got left. If he wants a Super Bowl, it's not going to be with the Titans.
I mean, you tag him?
Yeah, I think it was a mutual respect type of thing.
Yeah, maybe. All right. What else you think here? What else you got? What do you hear? What do you say?
Not much. I mean, a little disappointed as a Patriots fan. I would have liked to see him, but
yeah,
if they want to build it through the draft, I mean, no one really knows. You got to just sit back and hope it works out. I mean, you can get as mad as you want to, but
isn't it crazy how many teams sat back and just twiddled their thumbs during all this? It's crazy. Like Dallas, how did Dallas really crap the bed? You know, Dallas.
Yeah, I wonder if they go after Mike Williams.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. By the way, we have a potential zoomed in photo. Looks like we had our top guys on the case as far as, you know, what's inside this Calvin Ridley phone zoom in photo. I had my team enhance it, and we've got the pixels coming in right now as they're being digitally enhanced. And let me pull on screen what I think. Here it is. All right, Calvin Ridley. You zoom in, and that's what you see. Higher, lower. I think he might be dropping a little wager or two. Let me go over to who's on the phone line still. Let's go back to Jay from Philly. Or no, I'm being talking to him. Young, you're up, bro.
Hey, what do you hear? What do you say? You a Sopranos fan?
Yeah, Paulie Walnuts, baby.
Yeah, it's the best show ever, man. I'm actually watching it for the, I think, 5th time again, watching the whole thing over again.
Yeah.
I love that show. So, real quick question. You were kind of went over that topic a little bit with Mostert, but so my league is going to be a keeper going into next season. I'm keeping Tank Dell and Achan. And would you think it would be a good idea to cuff Mostert just in case he has a miraculous,
absolutely,
decent.
Absolutely, like what you're gonna get out of him is not worth letting him go. If you could get, like, even if someone said I'll give you the 2.12, I'd rather just keep Mostert and have it cuffed. I think far too many people try to get rid of something just to get rid of it. Like Kelsey, people are calling me left and right going, hey, Smitty, should I get a 2.110 for Kelsey right now? And I'm like, why? Like, just let the wheels fall off, Let the wheels fall off. Don't put yourself in a position of, having to, like, now find a different tight end. Like, if anything, my recommendation to people is to go get Kelsey right now at that price tag. Go get Mostert at that price tag. You might even get him cheaper than that. So I 100% would not trade him, and at 100% go get Mostert, go get Kelsey, go get. I mean, what other players fit that bill? Like Derrick Henry does fit the bill, but now he's going to cost more. Derrick Henry was very cheap. Now he's not.
Yeah.
Eckler feels the same way. Eckler's like a 5th or 6th rounder. Like, why not attempt to buy him if he's a 6th rounder of a redraft, imagine how cheap Eckler is in Dynasty. He's a bench player that you can get and shove him into your flex spot, and maybe in Washington he ends up getting 10 touchdowns and 60 receptions and whatever. You know, he should be able to easily produce flex numbers for as long as he's healthy. I don't know if he'll be healthy for very long. He may or may not. That's kind of the dilemma, but I think people are crazy not to take advantage of the buy low opportunities for some of these older players. People run away from older players. I'll buy them all day long in Dynasty if they're accoutrements to my team. They're like the accessories. They're not the main core. They're not the part I'm rebuilding with. And I don't really care about late seconds and early 3rd rounders. I care about early 2nd rounders, but I don't care about like a borderline 3rd round pick when I can get an Eckler in a Dynasty. People are freaking out right now about Eckler, Kelsey, Mostert. They're just giving them away. So that would be my advice, bro.
All righty. Cool, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Anything else?
Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, no, that's all I got for today, man. Thank you.
All right, bro. Jay from Philly, you got anything else, pal?
Yeah, I would say I would just probably not touch Ridley at all. I got burnt from Ridley last year, so I'm like, yeah, I probably won't touch Ridley at all in fantasy, or any Titans receivers. Probably just stay on the run game. I don't know. I got to see how it plays out. But where would you probably draft Ridley this year?
Ridley, I don't know if I know where I would draft him yet, more so than I would draft him as my wide receiver 3-4. Probably not a high-end wide receiver 3, though, just to be clear. It'd have to be something along the lines of, he's like my 3-4. Then I don't mind it, then it's then Ridley has some value, some upside. He can crap the bed and it not really be a big deal. But if you start trying to potentially count on elite wide receiver 3 numbers, I mean, the guys I called out, let me see if I can go to Underdog again real quick. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Please hit the link that's pinned in the live chat. The link's in the description of the video as well as every other video. And code Smitty gets it done as well. They'll double your first deposit up to $100. So jump in, and we're gonna be doing live drafts. So if you sign up now using that link, it's pinned in the live chat. It's in the description of the video. You sign up right now, you'll be ready to go for when we jump in and start drafting. And we need to figure out where these guys are going. I almost want to do one tonight, late tonight. So if you guys want to get in on that, or at least tomorrow. Ridley's going at wide receiver number 34 and 56.9 overall, which is actually higher than I expected, to be honest, when I'm looking into this. You got JSN below him, Hopkins below him, Jamison Williams below him. You got Pickens right below him. You got McLaurin 1 spot above him, Jaden Reed 2 spots above him, Roman Dunze. So that's pretty high already. I'm actually pretty shocked that without a home, really, he's been going that high. That feels kind of crazy. So you know what? I would say he's in a void because his value is only going to go up from here. His value is only going to go up from here. And if he's going at that territory, I'd rather have JSN.
JSN for sure. I think it's breakout. And those OSU receivers always end up, clicking once they get a full, firm grasp in the system. I feel like Garrett Wilson was on the path before Aaron Rodgers got hurt. And what was the other one? Chris Olave, he got his breakout. We break down year 1, but second year, he started to get more acclimated as that true wide receiver 1, which, pushed out Michael Thomas into the streets where he might go back to Sean Payton and the Broncos. So, yeah, I feel like these OSU receivers are going to, really, really, light the way for, this fantasy this year. But, yeah, I'm with you. We're really on that. I'm not fully committed. I felt like he was being overdrafted a lot last year. People, a lot of them was, and even in fantasy mocks, I did the sleepers, everybody else was like, oh, you're not going to draft Ridley at, round 2? I'm like, no, why would I do that? It seems crazy. And then he saw when he got burnt because Christian Kirk was really the one over there. And it just fluctuated depending on who was hurt. So
yeah, I will say though that I don't believe that was Ridley's fault as much as it was the fault of freaking Jacksonville. I mean, they really misused Ridley. They made him run streaks all day long, and then they throw to him once in a while.
Double.
Right, but
So
I like what Ridley could maybe do in this situation. I really do. But then we got to factor in: does Hopkins have anything left? Maybe he does. Again, anomaly. Maybe I don't count on it, but maybe he's an anomaly. And then you got to wonder: okay, is Levis good enough to feed 2 wide receivers to But the thing about it is that wide receiver 3-4 territory, and I think where Ridley's going feels like high end wide receiver 3 territory. So if he was to go in, and maybe people don't like his landing spot, I just would guess that his value goes up because he didn't have a home a minute ago, and he was going above JSN, right below McLaurin, right where the handful. What did I say? There's so many players right there, and if we include the running backs, so Jaden Reed was right above him, I believe. Yeah, Calvin Ridley. Then above him it goes McLaurin, Henry, Derrick Henry. I'd rather have Derrick Henry than Calvin Ridley. Andrews, Jaden Reed, McBride. McBride's right above him, like 4 spots above him. I mean, that information makes me say we're not going near Ridley at all. If that's his ADP already, then he's only going to go up. Not going near it.
I will wait. I will wait until Jacoby Myers before I even touch Ridley. Like that's where I'm at with Ridley. Like I like value at the ADP. I go to thrift stores and I find high end pieces in like the $50 to $60 range. So I'm not going to overspend on something that's out of style like Ridley. Like I feel like they're just I feel like the Titans, they just kind of finesse the Titans and they reset the whole market. So now certain receivers are going to want way more than they're valued at, and I feel as though that's going to trickle down, depending on who's going to get their contract, and it's going to cripple some teams. But I like Ridley right now. I feel like he's going to climb up once more people start seeing him in training camp. Even like Jerry Rice in training camp and practice, catching one-handed passes and jumping over water boys.
And better be careful calling him Jerry. Better be careful talking about Jerry Rice, bro. Really in the same sentence. Come on, bro. All right. Hey, Jay, appreciate you calling anytime. Yeah, calling anytime. Deckard, you're live. Yeah.
Just a quick question, Smitty.
Yeah.
Who do you like at pick 5? JJ, Chase, Hall, or Bijan?
JJ, Chase, Hall, or Bijan?
I like Hall.
Bijan.
I mean, what he did last year with no quarterback, I can't imagine what he'll do this year with a decent one.
I love all of them. Bro. But I probably, push comes to shove, I'm going Bijan, Hall, JJ, or Bijan, JJ, Hall. If I had 3 different picks side by side, let's say I'm picking at 3 overall in 3 different leagues. I'm on the clock right now in all 3 of them. I say this a lot. It's not a cop-out answer. It's just letting you know how much I love all of them. I take JJ in 1s.
Oh, yeah, the percentages matter if you're playing a lot of draft.
With all the risk involved, JJ in 1, Hall in the other, Bijan in the other. But if you give me 1 league, I'm probably taking Bijan. I think Bijan, as much as we feel like we got burned last year, bro, he, in my opinion, is going to be very, very strong shot at being running back 1 this year. So
he's RB9 last year, right?
Yeah, he's RB9 as the 3rd running back on the roster. They're gonna give him the ball.
Yeah, that's what the $50. That's what won the $50 was the Bijan running back 2.
Yeah. Let's go back to Travis real quick. Deckard, hang tight for me. Travis, what's up?
Hey, not much. I'm going to jump in a second. I got to go eat my dinner. But I think I guess that last guy said he did get burned by Ridley, which a lot of people are going to probably stay off him for that reason, because he was like beginning or mid of the 2nd round by the time the draft season came around for fantasy, right?
Yeah.
He was way up, like 23, 24, something like that. So maybe end of the 2nd. But I don't know. I think they'll use him the right way. So I think he's like a solid wide receiver 2. I wouldn't go much higher than that, though. What do you think?
Of who?
Ridley.
Well, like I said,
wide receiver 2.
No, like I said, he's a 3-4 to me.
3. Oh wow.
Yeah, because all those I mean, didn't you hear what I was saying? Those receivers I just named off, those guys, I can't believe where Ridley's ADP is. I can't buy into that. The fact that he was a free agent,
it is high.
Didn't have a home, and Derrick Henry's right above him, like 2 or 3 spots, and McBride's like 4 spots above him. Like, I can't go anywhere near that. And the fact that he had no home and his ADP was in that territory, I'll put it on screen here so you can see it, because it's pretty crazy when you look at it. Ridley's ADP. So Josh Jacobs, and that's clearly going to climb. Josh Jacobs is at 47 overall. Ridley's at 56. They're 10 ADP spots apart. That's going to change. I get it. Henry's at 54. Ridley's at 56. That's going to change too. But McBride at 50. Mahomes at 49. Kenneth Walker below Ridley. C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson below Ridley. Like, give me almost every single one of those people, even around him, over Ridley. And Ridley's value, I can only imagine, goes up from here. So I can't get on board. And I don't think he's a wide receiver, too. Could he be that good? Yeah. I mean, I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying that he's a bust or anything. I liked him a lot last year. Here's the ADP data. And again, Jacobs and Henry are going to skyrocket once this thing updates in the next 24 to 48 hours. But McBride, and this is Underdog Fantasy ADP, links in the description of every video, including this one. The link's pinned in the live chat. We'll be drafting. Please click the link. Sign up ahead of time so you're not scrambling when we jump on a live stream, and get in and get ready to draft with us, because we need to see where we're going to draft these guys. But look at all these names I'd take over them. And at 50, so 50 is where he's going here. I'm thinking his ADP feels more like it should be in the late 60s or 70s, and that's not a wide receiver 2 at all, to me.
So if you're ranking wide receivers, he's going to be more in the 30s or 40s then, for you then, in terms of just wide receivers, not where you draft them. If you rank wide receivers 1 to 50,
at least, man.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
Yeah.
But
Does anybody on the phone line feel differently?
I'd probably have him like in the 25 to 30 range at the probably.
Anybody else feel differently?
I guess that when I get off the phone, I'll look at a whole list. Yeah, I'm interested to see what people think, ranking wise.
Deckard? Hello, Deckard, you're on mute.
Sorry, Sam. Trying to help my wife get her food ready for the evening.
Oh, sorry. I'm here. You're working on your family stuff, and I'm giving you a hard time. Deckard, what do you think? What do you think?
Question, brother.
Travis is a little bit, and it's okay. Travis, has a different opinion. That's what's great about this show. Travis thinks, I think he thinks I'm a little low on Ridley, because here's the ADP. Here's the ADP. And Ridley, before this happened, obviously this has not been updated. This is with him without a home. He's at 56.9 ADP wise. Kenneth Walker's 1 spot below him. Anthony Richardson's 2 spots below him. C.J. Stroud's 3 spots below him. Addison's 5 or 6 spots below him. McLaurin's 1 spot above him. Henry's 1 spot above him. Jaden Reed, McBride, Mahomes. Like, he's sandwiched in between some amazing players. And this is before he had a home. I could only imagine his value goes up. I want nothing to do with this ADP. And so what I said to Travis was,
third wide receiver.
Yeah, I said wide receiver 3-4, not even like high end 3. He's like 3-4, and
No.
JSN's
he's
down
much
here.
less than the third one. I take him. I think it's that offense has got kind of a fresh look, so I'm not real sure, but I feel like it's more. Like we looked at the Bears last year, they got DJ Moore, and it's going to be the Bears going to ball out, and they didn't. I feel like it looks kind of good, but it's not going to be that good.
Yeah. Travis, so like real quickly, again, I like that there's different opinion here. I'm not thinking your take's bad at all. I'm just curious. Where do you value him though? Is it below every one of these guys?
Not necessarily. I guess it would, in terms of drafting on ADP wise, It would depend on who's on the board. Like a lot of those guys, I would take ahead of him. I guess maybe I wasn't thinking of it the right way. I was just ranking him in my head against other wide receivers. That's all I was doing. And I said I had him around wide receiver 25. So that's like mid to late too. Like not second round, mid to late wide receiver too. So I might be high on him though. So
Boston Dan, what do you think?
What for Ridley's ADP?
Yeah, like is wide receiver 2 crazy? Is wide receiver 3 more your liking?
No, I don't want him as a 2. I'd feel much safer as him with a 3. I mean, there's going to be variation next year. Like people aren't going to finish where we think they're going to finish. It always ends up that way. I would feel a lot safer with Ridley as a 3. I agree
with that.
The scenario I outlined earlier in the call of them being a pass happy, high conversion offense it's not likely. I don't think Levis is the new, whatever. I don't know anything about this OC. This is like I don't know anything about that. All I know is Ridley's a good separator, he's a good receiver. Is he the best? No. Is he him on the Falcons? No. He's got a pretty strong target competition. D-Hop too. Like I think they're going to help each other. They're going to open up if they're single high safety. They're going to help open up some coverage. But I mean, like it's none of these guys are J Jets or CD or any of these guys. It's like I would feel a lot safer with him as a 3, and I shoot for someone with a little higher upside as a 2. And it has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with age.
It should have something to do with it. It should have something to do with age, though. Like he's turning.
One thing.
It does, but that's more for. I look at 29, even 30. I look at that as more of a dynasty type thing. I mean, if the tape says you can play, you can play.
Okay,
in the half PPR league I played in, even with what he did last year, he still finished as a wide receiver 18, I think it was. And so, do we think he's going to be worse than last year, or do we think he ticks up a bit? Because I think he's a little bit better, but get 1,000 with 8 touchdowns last year.
I kind of feel like Ridley is. I kind of feel like Ridley is probably like gonna get something along. What was his stats last year? It was what is it?
76 receptions, 1,016 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns.
I think that's probably what he could maybe get this year, maybe.
Well, so that finished at wide receiver 18 and a half PPR.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a ceiling though.
It's hard to know how many guys will jump ahead of him though. So
yeah, I'd say that'd be a ceiling. The problem is that's if he played all the games and didn't on any level bust or get hurt or going into a year where he turns 30 during the year. I feel like I don't think I'd count on 1,108 and 70. Like I don't know.
That's
it's
fair.
tough. And again, I guess what it comes down to is again he's nowhere. Like I do not think he's dropping here. I think he's probably in the craziest scenario staying right where he is because other guys like Henry and Jacobs just climb up so high and
That's
it
a good
doesn't.
point.
But like I don't know that I can take him over a single player listed here within reason. Like look at Jake. Look, I'm going straight down. Jacobs, Adunze, Mahomes, McBride, Jaden Reed. You could argue it, but I think a lot of people would rather have Jaden Reed. Andrews, often injured. I could see someone arguing it, but I could see a lot of people saying give me the tight end advantage or whatever. Henry, McLaurin, Ridley, Walker, AR5, CJ Stroud, Addison, and then George Pickens is iffy as well. Like that's almost every single player. And if I go down further, because I didn't scroll, you've got Kincaid, Aaron Jones, Brian Thomas Jr., JSN, Alvin Kamara, George Pickens, Hopkins, Burrow, Monty, Ramondre, Kyle Pitts, Bowers, Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, Eckler, Najee Harris. Like I don't know. I feel like once you get there, that's where he belongs. And if he was there, I'd be okay with it. And then I think I'd have the thinking you have Travis, where I'm like maybe he could be a wide receiver too, like in the craziest of worlds. And I like his talent. We loved him last year. Levis could be better than we think. Hopkins could be more drained than we think. And at the end of the day, 1,100, 1,200 yards and 8 or 9 touchdowns is possible on 80 receptions. It could happen. But I think my expectation is that I get him where I just stopped reading the names after Najee. That's where I get him, and I hope for more. But there's no way in hell I'm counting on wide receiver 2 numbers from a guy that even if you had him, Travis, and he's wide receiver 17, he crapped the bed for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all year long, you're thinking, do I play him? Don't I play him? And I guarantee you the average person did not get that production because they benched him during games that he went nuts. They sat him during games he didn't, or vice versa. Played him during games he didn't. 14-month membership from Peanut Butter and Waivers says Fields to Tennessee, please. It's not going to happen because they're giving Levis a full go. So I'm sorry to burst your membership bubble there, Peanut Butter and Waivers, but appreciate your jelly, peanut butter and jelly.
Hey, Smitty, I got to jump.
Okay.
Are you doing the 8 o'clock show or?
Oh God, I thought we were on the 8 o'clock show. My brain's fried. Yeah, so I better end it here. Appreciate you, Travis. We'll see you later, pal. Good topic though. I mean, you're definitely on to something. Boston, Dan, appreciate he just left. Deckard, we'll see you on the 8 p.m. show, bro. Later. Massive deal. 309 of you in here. Punch the thumb up button. 114 thumbs up. We could do a little bit better than that. My tech team was hard at work trying to digitize and enhance this cell phone picture of Ridley holding the phone over his head like this. And my tech team zoomed in and they saw on his phone higher, lower. He had higher selected. So it looks like he was correct on whatever he was maybe wagering on, whether his contract would be higher or lower than $10 million guaranteed because the Titans went 50. The Titans doing a 50 wad. This is just guaranteed money. It's a $92 million deal, 4 years. Tennessee Titans overpaying like I've never seen in a long time. And this is going to set a bad precedent for other wide receivers like Aiyuk and Higgins who are wanting new contracts. And now the Titans throw this 4-year, $92 million, $50 million guaranteed in the face of Aiyuk and Higgins, and they're going to put up a stink. And I predict that if the Niners, and the Niners could act, if the Niners don't act before the draft, Aiyuk is going to make a little bit of waves, potentially request a trade, and Higgins might make some more waves. This is not going to sit well with both of them. It's the nature of contracts in the offseason, and the Niners set aside a certain amount of money. My Niner fans know what I'm talking about. John and Kyle set aside a certain amount of money for a player, and they don't waver from it, really. Maybe a tiny bit, but so if they wait, the values are going to keep going up, and then Aiyuk's market value goes up. Like, they could have signed Aiyuk if they rushed it right away. So let's get it out of the way. We'll sign you a 4-year, $80 million, or even if they did $90 million, 4-year, $90 mil, pay him $92 mil, pay him $23 a year, and let's give him $40 million guaranteed, $45 million guaranteed. Now, this is what Aiyuk wants or higher, and that's all there is. That's all there is to say about it. Aiyuk's camp is not wanting to fold from this. They'll at least push back enough to make it a very uncomfortable offseason where Aiyuk might have a bad year like Debo did. Bosa, anytime these Niners hold out, they have a bad year. Anytime most players hold out, they have a very bad year. They're out of shape, or they're not in tune or in sync with their team. Their rapport's broken up. Brock Purdy's not this locked and loaded player for next year yet. He needs rapport and a good offseason with his players. So this is going to be crazy what this potentially has, a cascading effect for. Going to be crazy. Z-Mac says Aiyuk isn't going anywhere. No, who said Aiyuk was going anywhere? Z-Mac. I didn't say a single thing about that. But Aiyuk's going to request a trade. That's the way it works. That's his leverage. He needs to do it before the NFL draft, or all of his suitors go out the window. People start filling their job openings in the NFL draft. His leverage goes out the window. So it's give him a contract before, or he's going to potentially ask for a trade. All right, I'll see you all at the 8 p.m. show. Appreciate you. Thank you for all my super chatters. You guys rock. We had Matt O, we had Deckard, we had Don, and Superfish dropping a $20 wad. We had Deckard, and who was it that also dropped the gifted memberships? It was gifted memberships was, damn it, why am I blanking out? It was Deckard and who was it? Deckard gifted 10. Aurora, thank you for gifting the 10 memberships. Deckard, thank you. Appreciate you all. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. That means we're going live at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. See you soon. About an hour and 10 minutes.